Shadows asleep amidst the trees. Bats all a swaying in the breeze. But one so light, anxious, wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags, and wraiths. For your dolly Polly sleep has flown. Don't dare let her tremble alone, for the witcher, heartless cold, paid in coin of gold. He comes, he'll go, leave naught behind but heartache and woe. Deep, deep woe. It's all silent for the night. House turned in as daylight dies. But when so light anxious wide awake, fearing all manner of ghouls, hags, and wraiths, my dear darling.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Haunted Connection show. We're bringing this to you from the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre in Hinckley, Leicester, and we are sponsored by Sims Vintage Antiques in Whitmore and near Stratford. So a big welcome to everybody. So tonight we're going to be talking about orbs and light anomalies, and I know we've covered this topic a couple of times before. It's always interesting. It's great to hear people's thoughts and ideas, so if you've got any comments, please put them all in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts and your opinions on orbs and light anomalies. So, good evening, Neil. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've got a new web camera and it's very close, isn't it? And yes, I do need a shave. I've been working hard.
Oh.
So,
putting some hours in, haven't they?
Sorry?
I said you have been putting some hours in lately.
Yeah, and more to come. I actually checked what you can see. The camera's moved as well, so I had to make sure you couldn't see any incriminating books or anything. Kevin says, you can see right up your nose. That's not a good start, is it? Okay then, let's start. As we've got a first comment about orbs. Colette says, I see orbs with my own eyes day and night. I can follow them with my eyes. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's good.
So some people actually say we shouldn't even be discussing orbs in the paranormal now.
Yeah.
What do you say to that then, Jane?
Well, I think it's very easy to just dismiss a lot of stuff, particularly if you perhaps don't understand it or you can't sort of get your head around it. You know, we know that sort of 99.9% probably of orbs that, you know, people put pictures up or whatever, we know that they're probably, you know, insects or dust or light reflection of you know, little specks in the atmosphere or whatever. And that's fine. And you can see, you know, you can see the swells of drafts or winds or whatever with all these little, you know, these little specks in there. But there are, in my experience, you know, we have encountered orbs that have been completely different from that.
Yeah.
And they've been intelligent. They've been moving in their own way. They've been taking energy from light bulbs or from other sources of energy. And I do believe that orbs exist, and I do believe that spirit can manifest itself as an orb. You know, if that spirit has got all that, if that's the only energy that spirit has got, and it can only manifest itself into an orb to show itself, then I do believe that can happen. And we have seen many orbs and many light anomalies at the center with our own eyes, you know, with the naked eye, not through necessarily through cameras or lenses or whatever.
Yeah.
So I do believe that there is a small percentage of orbs that are spirit, and they do exist.
Yeah. Okay. And let's put some more comments up. Caroline, I think it was Caroline who suggested this subject last week. Anyway, Caroline says, "I love the feathered orbs you get." Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
We've caught them, haven't we?
Yeah.
And then she says, "Orbs are amazing," and lots of people are saying hello, which is nice. Here's a question for you, Jane. Kevin says, "I have seen 3 orbs, and they have always been orange. How many different colours have been seen, and do the different colours mean different things?" Interesting.
Well, quite a few different people who have experienced orbs would say that, you know, if they've seen them in different colours, would say that the colours do mean different things. I haven't experienced anything where I believe the colours have shown me anything different. You know, the colours have sort of meant anything, but different people have different opinions depending on different experiences that they've had.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you've seen different coloured orbs, you know, there's so many different colours across the light spectrum that you could maybe see things in different colours, different people, and it's it's because we don't really know enough about it. You know, we tend to dismiss so much and not really look at it in a great lot of detail. So I think we miss a lot of information.
Yeah. Can you remember that night you guys did the investigation at the centre and Julie saw them coloured lights?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and she had an amazing experience, didn't she? And Julie was a bit sceptical at the time, wasn't she?
Yeah, yeah.
And she saw all those lights, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put some more comments up. Colette says, "I also see coloured ones as well, which is great." Caroline says, "Has Neil got the old video?" I have got it, but it's on my phone at the minute. I've just literally 5 minutes walked in and set the computer up. So I will show that if that's okay, Caroline, but not tonight because I need to set it up.
Yeah.
If it's okay with you, Caroline, I'll put it on my wall to see what people think of it. It is quite interesting, actually. I thought it was interesting. Obviously, Jane's not seen it. Pete says orbs can also be different colours. That's good. Bloss says, "Do you remember the photo we brought in with Benji?" Yes, I do. That was interesting because they took a series of photos and only one had an orb around Benji.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me. Caroline says shiny orb and green orb.
Yeah.
Lee says, "I know I've put this before, but I agree with Jane. 99.9% of the time, orbs are dust, water particles, insects. I have captured a couple that were interesting, but couldn't say for sure paranormal." But that's what the paranormal is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Paranormal.
And I think, yeah, but I think, you know, you're never going to see something unless you're looking for it. And, you know, we know that a lot of people just absolutely dismiss orbs. So you could have a spirit that's right in front of you as an orb, and you're just going to dismiss it. And unless you're prepared to have an open mind and look for it, you're never going to see it.
Yeah. Because again, it's what the books say, isn't it? Or what the so-called experts say. Orbs are no such thing. They're dust.
Yeah, but so many people just dismiss so much in the paranormal. How many people dismiss the fairies? How many people dismiss, you know, demons, or, you know, or creatures, or all these things that we've experienced at the centre?
Yeah. Wild Bill's watching from the United States. Thanks for watching, Wild Bill.
Hi, Wild Bill.
Gail says, "I remember that orb that sat on my hat on Halloween, and I have the evidence in a photo." Yes, but I remember that photo. That was a good, interesting orb. And Bloss says that one was green.
Yeah.
Willie says, I do hope to see a proper orb, as I do believe they happen. Unfortunately, I've always been able to debunk the ones I've come across.
Yeah, which
That's
is good.
fine. Yeah, I can always remember I was invited to do an investigation with a group over in Birmingham somewhere, a long time ago now. And this team were filming with a phone, with a light on the phone, right? And I sat next to this guy, had all the gear on, you know, the stab vest and all the pockets and all this. And they says, I've never met him before, never met anybody before. And I said, oh, we do loads of investigations around people's houses, right? Now, this building was very dusty. And in the light of the phone, I could see all these dust particles. I could actually see them. And he was saying, oh, blimey, it's amazing. It's so active. There's so many orbs in this room, all coming towards me. And I thought, oh, mate, I can actually see the dust in the light.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a similar thing as well. Somebody sent me a video, and you know, they're saying, oh, I've got so many orbs in my front room, what does that mean? And they said, I've caught a video of it. And they were videoing it, and their dog jumped onto the sofa next to them. Well, of course, you see the cloud of dust, sort of, well, not necessarily dust, but you see the sort of all the particles sort of all then into the atmosphere, and they're reflecting in the light of the camera, and they're saying, look, my front room's full of orbs. And it's like, no, the dog's just jumped on the settee.
Caroline says, some people say pink is female, blue is male, but I'm not sure about that.
No, well, no, I'm not sure about that either. It's not my experience that you know, I would go along with that.
Caroline says, okay, thank you, Neil. That's brilliant. I will put the video on that Caroline sent me onto my page later tonight, hopefully. Gail says, I have also seen different coloured orbs going through a holiday cottage in Bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
While Bill says experts, laughing. I love the experts.
Yeah. Everybody's an expert since we've come out of lockdown.
Yeah. Pamela says, I was speaking with a lady today who said when her 2-year-old daughter passed, she saw a ball of light pass over her shoulder. This lady has nothing to do with the paranormal or any other terms. She said it was a very bright ball of light. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Rose says, I saw the most amazing and beautiful orb. I wasn't looking for one, it found me. It was the most shiny golden colour, and I felt at total ease. Magical moment. It wasn't dust, as this was with me for about 4 minutes.
Yeah.
See, there are some fantastic stories, isn't there, of orbs. That's just Judy going out. Hopefully going to get a kettle on. I like the orbs when they change shape. Or can you remember the one we caught at Gresley?
Yeah.
And it sort of came down the banister, didn't it? Changed shape and looked like a hand. Moved across the balcony and the balustrade in and down the stairs, didn't it? That was quite amazing.
Yeah, and I had one similar to that at a house clearance that I was doing, and I was sitting on the bed looking out to the stairs, the landing upstairs, and this light just seemed to sort of appear. I'd say it was about as big as you know, the yellow melons, and it then turned into a cone, and the cone of light went down the stairs.
Yep. Right. Willie says, I think some people can be so desperate to see something that logic can go out the window. Yeah, that can happen as well, definitely. While Bill says, my favourite expert is Zach. We all love Zach, don't we?
We do love Zach.
Yep. Pamela says, sorry, no tea. No, she's gone, isn't she?
The kitchen is closed. Off duty.
What kind of service is this? Hopefully she can't hear me. Ian says, don't you get many photos of ours to yourself to asking what it is? Until you say it's dust, then people say it's spirit. So why do people ask what it is if they think they know what it is?
I think sometimes it's just to get a second opinion, because if other people agree with what you say, then it sort of validates what you feel that you've found. When other people sort of contradict that and they put up a constructive, and I'm talking about constructive comments to help you debunk or to sort of find out what it is, then you need to sort of look at that. People who put up, absolutely dismiss it and they're trolling with stupid comments, well, you just ignore them anyway. But there can be different variations, and we're all here to learn. And I'm hoping that people, if there is somebody puts a picture up and you feel that you can debunk it, that you send sort of perhaps comments in a nice, constructive, respectful way.
Yeah.
Because we're all, it's nice when we can all help each other.
Yeah. What I don't like is when people are nasty to people, because they put pictures up or videos up in good faith, and then Facebook's awful for this, isn't it?
Oh, it is, absolutely.
They get attacked, and they're only asking for opinions, not to be attacked. Yeah. I don't like it. Okay, Kathy, it might lose us, Jane, because it's a long one. Kathy says, question for Jane. When I was about 10, I had a sleepover. There were about 7 of us in a room. On the back of my bedroom door appeared 4 diamond-shaped blue, almost white flashing lights. They were on the points of a diamond. We looked outside for someone trying to creep us out. There was no one there. Every time an adult came near the door, they stopped, but otherwise kept flashing for hours. I've been told they were my great nan or angels. What do you think?
Now, that would be really perhaps tricky. It was such a long time ago, and obviously I wasn't there. It's difficult to say that it could be this or that. It could possibly have been some sort of spirit manifestation. But then again, without sort of seeing the circumstances and whatever else was around, it's a bit difficult to say. I'm not saying that this is what could it have been perhaps blue flashing lights if there was a police car parked nearby coming through some curtains or whatever. There's so many things that you've got to look at to discount and to I can't say that it was paranormal. It could have been, but then again, we need to sort of look at all the information and see what's there. And if everybody saw it in the room, that's good. Yeah. But it is always difficult you can't always say black and white of events that happened such a long time ago with with things like this.
Yeah. Okay. Wild Bill says they ask for confirmation. Yeah. Because some people put videos up and they're really excited about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
And to be shot down quite hostile-ish is not right.
Yeah. Well, that's arrogance, isn't it? And ignorance from people who, they may know better if somebody's coming new to the field and they're putting up pictures and they want to learn more. But, there's no need to be, nasty or arrogant about it. You can be helpful and give people constructive feedback.
I was always told by my mum and dad, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything.
Yeah.
If people ask our honest opinion, we will give it, but we will give it in a nice way. But that's just how we do things. Lee says, we caught one in the living room at East Drive. It came through a wall and split into 2, slowly growing before disappearing. That was interesting, to say the least, as we were all upstairs at the time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It'd be interesting to see if you got it on camera, if you captured it.
Yeah.
If you saw it with a naked eye, that's good.
Yeah. While Bill says you have to love haters.
Oh, yes. We're getting good at that. We just give them our love and respect and then send them on the way.
Send them packet. Okay, Willie says, I do think orbs and light anomalies can be one of the most controversial evidence people get.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well as Ouija boards.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always going to be that sort of Marmite crowd, isn't there? They're either going to love it or they're going to hate it. And yeah, it's just something that's part of the paranormal field, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, while Bill says a person learns from their mistakes, no need for bullies. Definitely not. I totally agree with you there, Bill. Surely we should be helping. If people are new to the field, we should be helping them anyway, and trying to guide them along the way. Caroline said that's why I only showed my feather orb video to my medium friend. Yeah. But like I say, Caroline, if you want me to share it on my page, I will do. But if I do get any nasty comments, I will take it down, because I wouldn't want you to go through that anyway, because I find it quite interesting. I'll show it Jane later anyway, definitely.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if it goes up on one of our pages or whatever, we are a research centre. We don't dismiss anything. We want to be able to work with everything and understand everything. And, we're not just going to dismiss something because other people say, we shouldn't be looking at orbs. So, people need to sort of bear that in mind. We are a research centre and we will do things completely different from how other people work.
Yeah. Hence the Demon Files. Right. Lee says, we did get it on camera. It was the place I saw orb with the naked eye on the stairs. Interesting.
Yeah, good.
It is better when you see it with the naked eye. Obviously, you can't show it to anybody then, but if you see it with the naked eye, there's a good chance that it's not dust, isn't it? Because you don't tend to see it with the naked eye. Kathy says, what do you think of the video shared with you earlier? It was really interesting, Kathy. Again, I will show Jane when the live feed finishes, but I've just got home from work, so I will show Jane, see what she thinks. And again, if you want me to share it on our page, I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah.
Shell says, trouble is people forget that dust and moisture get picked up very easily on camera. Yes, it does. The ones I particularly don't like is when there's loads and loads coming towards the camera.
Yeah.
To me, that will be dust. Because you're not going to get 100 orbs in one place, would you?
No.
I would have thought.
No. And when it's captured on the footage as well, and it does look completely different, you can tell that that's not dust or orbs. I mean, one that we've got on video somewhere in the archives of just trying to think where it was, Leicester.
What, Wigston, Guildhall?
Wigston House, that's the one. Wigston House, when we were there, and it is caught on one of the locked off cameras where the orb does actually come down through the floor. It comes round, it goes down by the floor, it then comes up and it hovers in front of the light for a bit as if it's recharging itself, and it does then sort of tend to be a little bit brighter, and then it goes back up in the ceiling. That's not a piece of dust, that's not a bug. And it's pulsating while it's traveling. It's special things like that you can, and it must have been the size of, I'd probably say it's probably the size between a golf ball and a tennis ball. It was a good size.
Yeah.
Because it was just a bit smaller than the light bulb.
Yeah, I remember that one. Right. Pamela says, if people post nasty comments, it stops people putting up evidence. Yes, it does, and it infuriates me. If you don't think it's what people say, that's your opinion.
Yep. Just
Who's to
scroll
say
on by and move on.
who's to say they're right and you're wrong? You know, don't be nasty. Too much nastiness in the world.
Yeah.
Kevin says, I will be in touch with the Demon Files. Really interested. Okay. Lee says, oh, I finally managed to watch the latest Demon Files. Amazing.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Lee. There's more news about Demon Files that James found out today, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. Before we say anything, though,
Yeah.
I need to sort of test it out a bit more first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to
We're
be
not going to
sure.
say anything. Kathy says, yes, you're more than welcome to share. I will do that, Kathy. Willie says, I'm no expert, but I did private message a new group that put a picture up and I could blatantly see it wasn't paranormal. So I explained to them and showed them what it was, but they didn't want to listen and were rude, so I left them to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there
it
is
works.
that as well, isn't there?
It works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you can offer your help and support and you know your knowledge and stuff like that. And if people don't want to listen and they're not interested in learning, then you know you've done as much as you can do and just move on.
Yeah. Shell says, plus when people film whilst moving, it stirs up dust.
Yeah.
Yes. While Bill says, time to cook. Love you guys and keep up the good work. Peace and love. See you, Bill. You take care.
Oh, bye, Bill.
Shell says, spiders crawling across static cameras out of focus can be a problem. Yes, I have actually seen a few of them. People have
Yes.
sent me videos and they says, look at this orb. And I've said, actually, I think it's a spider or an insect that's really close to the camera. So it's completely out of focus and you can see it, or a spider's web. Now, a single thread of spider's web close to the camera. We've had it on our night vision cameras at the centre.
Yeah, we have.
Just drifting in the any little breeze. It does look freaky. So you got to watch. You got to think about that as well.
Yeah, because spider's web is like white and sort of silky. It really does reflect the light, doesn't it? And it can look really quite spooky, but when it's close up and it's right next to the camera. You just need to get your duster out or your Hoover. I often Hoover the ceiling.
Strange woman. Okay, Kathy says, I'm rather envious. I can't be there, but I have a YouTube channel now, so I don't keep shouting at the TV. I think that's about the Demon Files.
Yeah. Oh, TV's just useless, isn't it?
Normal telly, don't bother watching. I don't watch it now. I just tend to watch YouTube.
Yeah, don't bother renewing your TV license. Just subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah, it's free, isn't it? But yeah, the Demon Files is turning into a very special series, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very special project.
And it's going to go on for another long time, yeah? Okay, Sheena says, the best way to see a light anomaly is with your own eyes, with no cameras or lights. They emit their own light, so you will see it with no interference. That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see colours or orbs with your eyes, that's even better. Okay, Shell says, do you think that filming in full spectrum would help stop dust and spider web mistakes? To be honest, I don't know enough about full spectrum photography. I do know the IR on night vision cameras, they pick up dust ever so easy. But I'm sorry, Shell, I really don't know.
I think that would be one that you'd have to try, wouldn't it, as an experiment thing? you know, try filming a lot in the full spectrum and see, you know, if you're able to, if you find, you know, if you've got your camera running and some orbs, as you know, you can see orbs or whatever, and then get your full spectrum camera running in exactly the same place with the same stuff and see what it shows you.
Yeah. Okay, John says the one thing this year has shown me is that some people are determined to believe some things in defiance of logic and rational explanation. Yes, yes, they do. Caroline says, I use a trail cam. That's quite good. Yeah, quite a few teams are using trail cams at the centre, actually.
Yeah.
They're the ones that detect movement, I think, and they start filming them when they detect movement. Kathy says, I have subscribed. The only way I can comment is now to get my own YouTube channel, and you can't hear me shouting from Milton Keynes. Right, so while we're waiting for some more comments, because we've had loads already. So what advice would you give people about orbs then, Jane?
I would just say keep an open mind, because you just, you know, I just don't think we know enough. And we just need to experience, you know, some of these things more. And the more you experience, the more you can then make up your own mind as to whether it's just light particles or whether it is actually spirit. I mean, we've seen so many light anomalies and different light things at the centre, haven't we? There's been some blue lights going around. There's been some really quite big, you know, sort of as big as a football, light anomalies in the doll room, sort of going around the ceiling. You know, I think it's just a case really that you've just got to be sensible, you know, be open-minded and just try and record or catch some of this stuff and then make up your own mind. You know, at the end of the day, it's your journey, it's your paranormal journey, and you don't always need validation or other people's opinions. If you've captured something and that's really spurred you on and encouraged you to do more and learn more, then that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, definitely. Caroline says, yes, that's right, Neil. John says, trail cams use a passive infrared detector, like alarms and security lights. So it's a bit dim to night vision cameras, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Caroline says, I've seen a few with my eyes, and they're the best. I know you can't show people what you see with your own eyes, but like Jane said, the paranormal is your journey. It's what you see is your journey. Does anyone else have to see it? Perhaps not. As long as you've seen it, that's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Diane says, sorry I'm late. Must do better next week. Kathy says, a lady at work showed me a video that she was convinced was her mum. Sadly, you could see it was an insect caught in a web. I didn't want to burst her bubble, so I said I'm really not an expert in orbs, but it would be lovely if it was. Yeah, I think that was handled well. What do you think, Jane?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when people are grieving, she probably did the right thing. Sometimes when people are grieving, they're so desperate. When I used to do some of the platform mediumship, people are so desperate for a message from a loved one that sometimes, you know, you just really don't want to hurt them or you know, make their grief worse by, you know, dismissing things like that they've said. And sometimes if they feel it was a sign from their loved one, then, you know, if it helps their grief, then they're quite, you know, just let them think that and just let them sort of ease through the grief as best they can.
Diane says it's mostly on playback with camcorders that it's caught for everyone to see. Yeah, I don't think night vision camcorders helps this debate, do they?
No, but then again, you see, people are just got to be sensible, haven't they? And just look at it through, look at this perspective that it's in. If they're in an old dusty building and all the things are blowing and the particles are all going the same way in that, then you've got to be a bit sensible about it.
Yeah.
You can't sort of say things like that are paranormal, because that's why a lot of people then will dismiss the topic of orbs, because they say, oh, they're all dust or they're all whatever. If everybody was saying that it's all dust and you can really, sorry, they're all orbs, when you can clearly see it's dust, and that's what sort of fuels this debate, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Right, Diane says, it is lovely to see more shapes or outlines can't be dismissed as dust particles. Yeah, the one we caught at Greta, unfortunately I can't find the footage because we're not with that team any longer, but it did change to shape. It did change to look like a hand. It really was like a hand gripping the banister.
Yeah.
So that's one of the best I've seen. She says, I was sat in my friend's living room and we both saw the same thing. A huge bright light like a Catherine wheel came down the stairs and went out the front door. We both turned and said, did you see that at the same time?
Yeah.
That's a good one, because that's not dust.
It is. Yeah.
So, and John says, people sensible.
We can live in hope.
There are some sensible people out there, John. Yeah, and also there's a lot of fake videos going around, isn't there?
Yeah.
And not fake teams, but teams jumping to, oh, that's an orb, when you clearly it isn't. And that doesn't help. That doesn't help the debate either, does it?
No.
So we've got waiting for no more comments. So what's the best orb or light anomaly you've ever seen, Jane?
Well, I think it's all those that we've seen at, with the naked eye, really. It's those big ones we've seen at the centre. It's that sort of cone of light I've seen at that house. It's that pulsing orb that I've seen on the footage from Wigston House. We've seen quite a few good ones. And the other thing as well, I know we've mentioned this before, but when I went into the mirror, I had to go up and get some protection, didn't I?
Yeah.
And when I had that protection, my light shined brighter. And I then came down and I went through the mirror. And this is one of the things that I've often thought about. So was I travelling as an orb?
That's interesting.
I wasn't there in my physical body. I was sort of astral projecting, but I did have to go and get protection, and it did make my light shine brighter. I was travelling in my own light through the darkness. So was I travelling as an orb?
Oh, another question. Another question.
So that's one of the things I'd quite like to get to the bottom of, really.
Yeah. Right, Caroline says, I think I've had animal orbs too. Has anyone else? I don't think I have. Have you experienced animal orbs?
Not really. No, I can't say that I've, because generally, with the animals, I can sort of connect with their energy and see them. So I can't say that I've encountered any animals that have sort of been as orbs.
Okay. Pamela says Zach always adds a funny noise when he shows an orb. Yeah, I don't actually watch him now because he does me head in.
You can't say that. We're going to go and see him next year. Might be watching.
We are planning on going to see him next year. And if he's watching tonight and he brings it up, I will apologise. Depends if he lets us in for nothing, Jane. Kathy says at 9 p.m. every night I would feel a draft around my ankle while I sat in the front room. One night I put the camera on my phone. I could see an orb dancing around my feet that I could not see with the naked eye. I think it was my dog. That's
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Quite possibly. Okay, Shell says, I don't think it helps that online investigation are trying to keep the audience. I don't know what
I
it
don't quite
means.
know what
Jane.
that means.
That's okay. It's not one of our videos. I don't know what you mean, Shell. Sorry. Willie says people faking stuff because they think it will make them famous causes so much damage.
Yeah.
Lee said working on a couple of short clips to send you guys on Messenger regarding orbs I've mentioned. Okay, thanks, Willie. Terry says yes, he's seen a cat.
Yeah.
Orbs on cameras have to be looked at carefully. The main issue is the light source is often close to the plane of the lens, so direct reflection of light of dust and insects a problem. Yeah, so if you put the IR light away, perhaps it wouldn't be such an issue. Caroline says, "Oh no, we all love Zach." Shell says, I don't think it helps that some online investigations try hard to keep their audience entertained, as most investigations are long, quiet, and still, and not a lot of constant running about chasing noises. Okay, I understand that. Yeah, that's right, and that's obviously that's a big problem, isn't it, nowadays?
Yeah.
And not some aren't interested in the investigation; they just aren't interested in stars, but that's not going to go away. So, lots of people are saying hello. I don't know who just joined. So, anything else to say about orbs, Jane?
Well, I just think it's just another interesting avenue of the paranormal that we've just not really learnt enough about, and I don't feel that we should just dismiss it all the time. But I think if we do come across them, I think we just need to have a very open mind and see if we can work with them, see if we can capture, the footage of them, and so we can sort of look at it, from a different perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we should dismiss them out of hand.
No,
because we just don't know. I think what we should be doing, perhaps we can try at the centre, is asking the spirit to show themselves as a light or an orb, and if an orb appears, then in response to that question, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I think so. But if one of the biggest things for me that makes me quite eager to learn more about the orbs is my experience with the mirror.
Yeah.
That question of if I was traveling as an orb.
Yeah, definitely. Another little project for us. How many
Well, you're
projects
coming
can we?
to the mirror next time with me anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. Swiftly moving on. Yes, I will come into the mirror with you next time. Sheila says, how do you tell the difference between an animal orb and a spirit orb? Personally, I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Jane?
I mean, for me, it would be a case of connecting with the energy so I could see it. As for telling with the naked eye, I'm not sure if you could, if it's just an orb of light, and that's all that spirit can do to manifest itself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you could tell.
Terry says, is it a light anomaly or an orb? What is there a difference between the two?
Well, I think there is. I consider an orb to be sort of a round light that sort of pulses and sort of has its own intelligence by moving and interacting in different ways. Whereas a light anomaly, I feel, is bigger and it will be in different shapes, as in, like that one I saw at the house where it was just sort of like a ball of light as such, and then it turned into a cone and went down the stairs. And like the one that we saw at Gresley, where it was sort of there on the stairs and it sort of manifested into sort of like the hand. I mean, that to me would be a light anomaly.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Dave says 95% orbs can be explained away. Everywhere has dust along with other particles, only common since invention of digital cameras. Never seen or any form from film cameras. Yeah, this is what we're saying, Dave. We probably more than 95% is dust or insects, or because dust is around you all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, and the moisture particles and things like that.
I just find them interesting when they change shape or they pulsate. That's interesting, or they change direction. Like they change direction. They will go across the room, then turn and go through the doorway or something. That's more interesting to me.
Yeah.
Shell says, I think looking at the environment and what you are investigating is definitely to be taken into account. Yeah, dusty, humid, even marshland can cause ball lightning or willow wisps. Definitely, if you're in an old derelict building, there's good chance there's going to be dust there.
Yeah. One of the other things that we've seen at the centre as well, haven't we? When we've been watching teams investigating and the lights have been off, and we can see an orb. They've called out. Can spirit come and touch somebody? And then we have actually seen an orb, haven't we? Come down, and it's the one I remember is it came down and it touched the person on the head and then moved away. And then you see the person putting their hand up and like rubbing their head. They felt it. Things like that when we see it, but they wouldn't have seen that because they it's that sort of thing that we've witnessed that just makes me think that that does make me believe that there is orbs, good orbs out there.
Yeah. Pamela says some orbs you can see things in them when you enlarge them. Yes, I know. I've been sent a photo of an orb. It does look like a face. Whether that's pareidolia, I don't know, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've been sent.
Yeah. Kathy says, we had a lovely light playing around with us at the centre in the hub room where we left our bags. That's interesting.
Yeah.
If you still got it, Kathy, send it. Craig says, I have some interesting orb footage from after my dad died.
Yeah.
Interesting. And Shell says, take into consideration the time of year too. Yeah, all these atmospheric conditions you have to take into account as well. Sarah says, why are most orbs seen on camera footage rather than the naked eye?
Well, I think with the small ones, they actually do reflect, don't they? The camera does capture a lot that we probably wouldn't see. Sometimes if it moved that quick, or if you got your back to it, or that sort of thing, and it could be moving around, and you may not even see it with a naked eye, and yet you're in the same room with it. Yet when you see it back on a camera, you can see it much more clearly. That's sort of, I suppose, my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Terry says the cat I saw moved like a cat, and we got a cat sound on EVP. So
good.
Yeah. Then Shell says even we produce dust from the dead skin and dandruff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think as well, when you get another piece of activity that backs up as well, you know, like you were saying about the EVP or something like that, you know, if you've got an orb and you're asking it to do stuff and you can see it on the camera, but at the same time, while you're in there, even if you didn't notice the orb, if you've got activity like on your K2 or you capture an EVP or something like that, if you've got some other evidence there that can, you know, that you can relate to the other activity, then I think that helps as well.
Yeah. Okay, Lee says, if we assume that good orbs are spirits, do you think it's lack of energy preventing them from fully manifesting? What do you think, Jane?
I don't necessarily think it's a lack of energy as such. I think it's a case that some spirits, you know, when they use their energy, that is how they manifest. That is all they can manage. You know, being compatible with, I think it's a bit being compatible with sort of how you manifest. I think that's sort of part of it. And so I sort of Rosie's just appeared at my door. Hang on.
It's a weird woman.
Yes. Just bear with me.
Okay.
I'll be back 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm all the way up here and I never thought somebody'd be at my door.
Jane's actually in the Lake District on holiday again. Let's put Sarah's comment up anyway. I used to have a doggy cam for my dogs. One night the dogs woke me up barking downstairs. When I checked the camera, there were a couple of orbs going around the living room, and the dogs appeared to see them. That's really interesting, Sarah. We'll just carry on with that, Jane, for a second. Jacqueline says, I took 3 photos with a flash in a cave, and there was moisture and dust. On the first 2 photos, I asked people at the event to smile. On the third photo, a guest asked Spirit to have their photo taken. There was a light anomaly. I used the flash on all night with the Nikon DSLR, and this was the only photo like it. Yeah, another interesting. It's good to take a series of photos. Are you back now, Jane?
I am. And they brought me cake. That's going to be a good thing.
Oh, even better.
Then up at my door with me cake. That's fine. Thank you. Need to put the kettle on now.
Okay, Dave says pulsating can be caused as the dust spins, catching light on its different facets. As for dust changing direction, it only takes the slightest of airflow to move. It can also be static that can draw or back downwards or towards it, not seen with naked eye due to its small speck of dust. It looks bigger because it's close to the lens. Okay, that's an explanation why it could possibly pulsate. Shao says, it's when you witness a light anomaly thinking it was actually another person with a flashing torch to find out later there was no one there. That's enough for me.
Yeah. Oh.
And Bloss says, very nice, enjoy your cakes. So there's only a few minutes left now.
Wow, that's gone quick.
It does go quick, doesn't it? We've had lots of comments, which is great. Anne's just started watching now, we're nearly finished. So final words on orbs then, Jane.
I would just say I think we just need to do a lot more research and find out a lot more and just keep an open mind. You know, as we've said, majority of it could be dust, moisture, insects, but there's a very small fraction that I do believe are real orbs, you know, real spirit. And I say that from my own experience, not because it's something I've read or something somebody's told me. You know, that's based on my own experience.
And that's how we do things, isn't it?
So keep an open mind.
Jane tends to do all the reading, and then we make our own minds up. John says, last few comments. John says, one reason you might see an orb on camera but not live is you are concentrating on the picture, the video, and not looking around the room. It's very true. And they're all saying it was a good show. Caroline says, this has been brilliant. Loved it. Thank you, Jane and Neil.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yvonne says, oh, cake, friends with cakes are the best. It's actually a daughter. Okay, Sarah says, whilst investigating an old airfield a few years ago, we had motion sensors in the doorways of a derelict control tower. We witnessed a light anomaly go through one of the doorways and the motion sensor lit up at the same time. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I think if you get other bits of equipment going off that supports what you think you're seeing, you know, I don't think you should dismiss it straight away.
Anne says, did someone mention cake?
Yeah, we all like a bit of cake. Tea and
Pamela
cake.
says, thanks guys, good chat. Shell says, lovely guys, thank you for the chat. Anne says, we'll catch up. Wendy says, thank you, fascinating subject. And Lee says, good show again, thank you. Kathy says, nice chat, thank you. And this is what I like. I like is to discuss things without any arguing. We can lots have different opinions, and it's all good, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm just going to say that you can always, you know, we do work in honesty and truth, and all of our opinions really are based on our experiences, not necessarily on hearsay or what people have told us, or, you know, we do try and do our best to bring you factual and truth from our experiences that we've had.
Okay. Sarah says, thanks guys, once again great chat, although I was late. Must try harder next week, Sarah. The next two comments are about the same. Caroline says, what's the topic for next week? And Kathy says, what are we chatting about next? Okay, next week we are talking about ghosts and spirits and residual energy, and that includes the stone tape theory. So, is there a difference between a ghost and a spirit?
Well,
are they the same thing? Are they different? Let me just put Anne's comment up. Anne says, Sarah and I are in detention. Yes, you are. Caroline says, oh, wow, my favourite subject. What were you going to say, Jane?
I was just going to say, yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting discussion, because I don't think we've discussed this before, have we? We haven't.
No. Because we are going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works, aren't we, Jane? To the normal thinking. Well, okay, Jane is going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works to the normal way of thinking.
But it's only all based on my, like I say, on my experiences and what I believe through my own experiences. So we'll see if anybody else feels the same next week.
Yeah. Okay. Yvonne says, thank you. We'll watch the replay of what I've missed. Sorry, I was late. Also, I was in a lesson. Detention.
10 biscuits, stop from here.
Dave says, oh, yes, we'll try not to miss that one. Thanks, Dave. Anne says, oh, next week sounds great. Yeah, it's going to be different. I think it's going to be different next week, because Jane and I have had a discussion on the stone tape theory and residual energy. So let's do that next week. Sarah says, naughty step for us.
Yeah, but don't fall off it, Sarah.
So it's a week after next, June.
You got me looking now. It's the 18th now. You got a bit longer yet.
We've got a bit longer because we're going to make an announcement.
We've got about 2 weeks left, don't we?
No.
13
No.
days left.
No, next week is the 25th of May.
Yeah.
The Tuesday after that's the 1st of June.
Yeah, so it's nearly 2 weeks.
So next week we're talking about the residual energy, ghosts and spirits. Is there a difference? Are they the same thing? Are they two different things? The week after that, we've got an announcement to make, don't we?
Woohoo!
About our new little thing that we're doing.
Yeah, so keep watching, guys.
Which is very, very exciting. Anne says, yep, I hope the steps are big enough for us lot on it. It's got to be the people being late, lots of naughty steps. And that's it. It's gone 10 o'clock. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's nice to have a discussion without any falling out. We can still be mates, even though we might not agree.
Yeah, that's called being grown-ups.
Yeah.
It's what grown-ups do.
You're saying I'm an adult. So yeah, if you're interested in Ghosts and Spirits, tune in next week, same time, same channel.
And if you've not already seen any of them, right, the Demon Files, go on YouTube and catch up. Haunted Connections TV, go and catch up on the Demon Files lives, and because there's plenty more of those coming up as well soon.
Yes, very exciting. So we'll say goodnight and we'll see you all next week. And stay safe.
Bye, everyone.